So, we are sitting here, and it's late August 2026.
Yep.
And the autumn exhibition season is, I mean, it's practically knocking on the door right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's right here.
Right. So the question we have to ask is, are your new salespeople actually ready to generate pipeline, or did you just, spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a glorified booth?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. And that's why today we are doing a deep dive into a really comprehensive strategy document by Wyn Nathan Davis over at the Sales Experts to answer exactly that question. The mission today is we want to build a roadmap for true sales success at trade shows. Specifically, this is for sales leaders, hiring managers and executives who are looking for, maximum commercial return on their events.
Right, because what usually happens, and we see this all the time, is just this massive deployment of capital into the event space itself.
Oh, yeah, the physical space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
While the actual human element, the team working the floor, they get treated like a last-minute logistical detail.
Yeah.
Which is honestly the most expensive mistake a company can make.
It really is.
I mean, you see these incredible custom-built pavilions. They have espresso bars. They've got these crazy interactive displays.
Right, the flashing lights, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you walk up and you realize the people manning the floor are practically reading from a script that they were handed that morning.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A stand is just a location.
Yeah.
It's literally just a piece of leased real estate on a convention center floor.
Right.
The idea that a high-performing sales environment is just going to spontaneously generate just because you cut a ribbon on opening day is a massive corporate delusion.
Oh, totally.
True performance is engineered months before the doors even open.
Yeah, I always look at it like opening a really high-end restaurant. You can spend millions on a prime downtown location. You can import Italian marble for the countertops.
Right.
Buy the absolute best commercial ovens on the market. Run a massive PR campaign for opening night. But if you wait until the day before the launch to hire a head chef, you're going to end up serving microwaved appetizers.
Exactly. Yeah, the real estate doesn't cook the food.
Right. The ovens don't invent the menu.
No.
If you don't have the talent ready to execute, then your infrastructure is it's a very expensive monument to poor planning.
That analogy hits the nail right on the head, honestly, because it highlights the necessity of a timeline.
Right.
The culinary genius doesn't happen overnight, and neither does a high-level sales capability. To really understand why companies fail so spectacularly at these autumn exhibitions, you have to look at the math of recruitment.
Yeah, calendar, basically.
Exactly, the calendar. If you want a top-tier performer on the floor in October, the absolute minimum runway you need is 4 to 6 months.
Okay, wait, let me challenge that timeline a bit.
Sure.
Because 4 to 6 months, that sounds incredibly conservative to me. Like, if I'm a hiring manager with a show in October and I just got my budget approval today in late August,
Right.
my instinct is to aggressively hit the market right now. Like, I can get someone interviewed and hired in 3 weeks, right? Why do I need half a year?
Well, because you are calculating that timeline based on the assumption of a desperate candidate pool.
Oh, I see.
Rather than a top-tier candidate pool.
Right.
Let's break down the mechanics of this a little bit.
Yeah, please.
The salespeople who are actually going to move the needle for your business, the ones we call passive candidates, they are currently employed.
Right. They're not looking.
Exactly. They're hitting their quotas somewhere else, they are earning heavy commissions, and they are managing complex customer relationships every single day.
Wow.
And sometimes they are prepping for the exact same autumn exhibitions for your direct competitors.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So to extract them from that environment, it takes time.
So the timeline isn't just about finding them, like sourcing a resume. It's about the friction of actually moving them from their current comfortable spot.
Yes. And the friction is substantial. I mean, if they are senior or highly specialized, their notice period alone could be 3 months.
3 months, just for notice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Often, they have garden leave.
Garden leave.
Yeah, meaning their current employer will legally bench them. They'll pay them to literally sit at home for a few months just to ensure they don't take, proprietary strategies or client momentum directly to a competitor like you.
Right, right.
Or they might be waiting for an annual bonus payout before they resign. You have to factor in the search, the negotiation, the notice period, and then the actual onboarding process where they learn your product.
Which takes time, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you start in August for an October show, you're mathematically out of time.
Yeah, that paints a pretty grim picture for the late summer recruiter.
It does.
But let me push the boundaries on this a little bit more. Do we always need the heavy-hitting, quota-crushing industry veteran?
Okay.
Like, what if the strategy is just pure volume? If I have a really highly visible booth, can't I just hire someone with incredible, magnetic energy?
The event personality.
Yeah, exactly. An event personality who can stand out front, charm the passing crowd, scan 1,000 badges, and just, hand out brochures. I mean, I can find a charismatic extrovert by next Tuesday.
Well, you can absolutely find a charismatic extrovert by Tuesday. No argument there.
Yeah.
But you have to ask what the commercial objective of the exhibition actually is.
Okay.
If the goal is just to have a crowd of people smiling near your logo, then sure, go ahead and hire for energy.
Right.
But if the goal is to generate qualified pipeline, like actual revenue, charisma is a trap.
A trap. How so? Because charisma gets people in the booth, right? Isn't that half the battle?
It gets them to stop walking,
Right.
but it doesn't get them to buy.
Ah, okay.
You have to think about the psychology of a trade show attendee. It's highly fragmented. They are overwhelmed. They're exhausted. They're constantly looking at their watches to get to the next panel.
Yeah, carrying heavy bags of swag.
Right. A charismatic greeter can hold their attention for about 30 seconds. But the moment the prospect asks a substantive question, about implementation timelines, technical integration, or specific use cases, that event personality just hits a wall.
Because they don't know the product.
Exactly. They don't have the deep product knowledge or the understanding of the target customer's business model to sustain a real peer-to-peer commercial conversation.
So they end up just having nice, superficial chats
Yes.
and collecting business cards from people who will literally never return an email.
They generate zero qualified pipeline. Zero. They collect a massive spreadsheet of names, which, feels like a huge victory on the flight home.
Right. Look at all these leads.
Exactly. But without the commercial judgment to actually qualify those leads, that energy is essentially useless to the business.
Okay, so if charisma isn't the engine of success, then what is the salesperson actually supposed to be doing to guarantee a return on the event? Because it sounds like just showing up and being friendly isn't enough.
No, it's not. It all comes down to the pregame strategy,
Okay.
which starts with defining the exact commercial outcome you want, and then hiring the specific profile that matches it.
Right.
The strategy framework we are analyzing today is very strict about this. Good at exhibitions is not a real skill set.
That's a great point. It's too generic.
It's way too vague.
Yeah.
You have to reverse engineer the role from the objective.
Could you give me an example of how that changes the hiring profile? Like, what does that look like in practice?
Sure. So let's say your company is using the autumn exhibition to launch a highly technical, complex software product.
Okay.
You don't need a generalist for that. You need a sales engineer.
Right, someone who knows the tech.
Right. You need someone who can handle technical discovery on the fly, who can whiteboard a solution with a skeptical chief technology officer right there on the floor,
Yeah.
and really defend the architecture of your product. But on the other hand, if your objective for the event is to open up a brand new geographical region where you have zero brand presence, a sales engineer is going to struggle.
Because they're too focused on the technicals.
Exactly. For that goal, you need a territory sales manager, someone whose core competency is aggressive networking, pattern recognition, and building relationships from absolute scratch.
I see the distinction. So you are matching the specific psychological toolkit of the salesperson to the primary hurdle of the event.
Exactly that.
And presumably, once you have that perfectly aligned hire, they aren't just sitting on their hands until the convention center opens, right?
Oh, not even close. No. The most dangerous assumption a company makes is that foot traffic equals opportunity.
Just hoping people walk by.
Right. Waiting for a high-value prospect to casually stroll past your specific 10 by 10 square of carpet is leaving a massive financial investment entirely up to chance.
Yeah, that's wild when you put it like that.
The best conversations at any exhibition are arranged weeks before anyone books a flight. The salesperson's primary job in the weeks leading up to the event is targeted pre-event outreach.
Okay, I really want to dig into the mechanics of that outreach. Because the generic version of this is universally despised.
Oh, yeah.
We all get those automated emails a week before a conference, right? Like, hey, come visit us at Stand 42. We have custom tote bags.
The worst.
It's the trade show equivalent of a lazy LinkedIn connection request where someone just clicks the default button.
Yes.
There's no context, no value, and it immediately goes straight into my trash folder.
Well, it goes into the trash because it requires the prospect to do the work of figuring out why they should care.
Oh, right.
Effective pre-event outreach reverses that burden entirely. The salesperson has to meticulously build a target list. They are scraping expected delegate lists. They're analyzing the speaker schedule to see who is attending which panels.
Looking for angles.
Exactly, looking for angles, identifying lapsed customers who might be in the city. Then the outreach has to connect a specific solution to a problem that the prospect is currently facing.
Okay, so instead of just saying, come see our booth, it's more like, I noticed you were leading the panel on supply chain bottlenecks on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Our new module actually automates the exact freight routing issue you wrote about last month.
Spot on.
So I've carved out 15 minutes on Wednesday morning at our stand to walk you through a live sandbox environment. Does that align with your current priorities?
Exactly that. That is perfect. You are offering a highly specific, high-value reason to disrupt their schedule.
Right.
And that level of targeted orchestration takes significant time. A new hire needs enough runway to learn the product, research the market, identify those targets, and build familiarity through multiple touchpoints without coming across as a spam bot.
Yeah.
Honestly, if your team isn't booking hard calendar invites 3 weeks before the event, the exhibition is already a failure.
Wow. Okay, that shifts the entire paradigm. The real work happens in the shadows long before the floodlights turn on.
Exactly.
But let's say we executed the pregame perfectly, we defined the role, we hired the right profile, and we booked the meetings. Now the doors actually open, the floor is chaotic, it's loud, it's completely unpredictable. How do you ensure the salesperson maintains that strategic focus and doesn't just revert to badge scanning panic?
You ensure it by testing their commercial judgment before you ever offer them the job.
In the interview.
In the interview, exhibitions naturally favor people with visible communication skills, but you have to strip away the polish and test how they actually think on their feet. The strategy document outlines this fascinating, highly practical interview technique for this.
Oh, the role play thing.
Yes, the 5-minute role play scenario, executed live during the interview.
Okay, I'm incredibly curious about the mechanics of this. How do you set up a realistic trade show scenario in a sterile conference room?
It's great. You literally stop the standard interview questions and you set the stage. You tell the candidate, look, you're representing us at our biggest autumn show. I am a prospect who has just wandered onto the stand. I'm looking at my watch, and I have exactly 5 minutes before I need to be at a keynote address. Show me how you open the conversation, determine if my company is actually a fit for our services, and secure an appropriate next step.
Oh, wow. So you're forcing them to demonstrate active listening and concise value proposition delivery rather than just, reciting their resume to you.
Exactly. But here's the critical part. You don't let them have a smooth ride.
Of course not.
You are testing their ability to qualify under pressure, so you have to throw a wrench in the gears mid-conversation.
Like what?
Just as they start pitching, you interrupt them and say something like, actually, my budget was just slashed by 30% for Q4.
Oh, that's brutal.
Or, I should mention, I'm just the technical lead. The final decision is made by a committee that isn't even here.
And how they react to that pivot tells you everything.
Everything. Do they freeze? Do they aggressively try to push past the objection and just keep pitching?
Right.
Or do they recalibrate, ask a smart, clarifying question, and adjust the proposed next step?
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
And you can also test their ability to recognize a dead end. You play the role of the person who just wants to grab a free branded pen and a brochure.
The swag hunters.
Exactly. Can the candidate politely but firmly disengage, or do they waste 10 minutes pitching to a trick wall while a real prospect walks by?
Oh, that happens all the time.
It does. That 5-minute stress test is a far better predictor of trade show success than 10 years of generic sales experience.
Because it tests their internal qualification system.
Yes.
Which actually brings up one of the most critical concepts we really need to unpack today. In this high-stress environment, how does a salesperson actually categorize the people they are talking to? Because the cardinal rule here, as the source states, is that a badge scan is not a lead.
Oh, it is the most common and destructive myth in event marketing.
It really is.
If you treat every single person who stops by the booth as a legitimate lead, you artificially inflate your pipeline data. You give leadership false hope, and you completely paralyze your sales team with administrative bloat the moment they return to the office.
Because there's too much data.
Exactly. You must have a strict qualification taxonomy established before the event. The framework breaks this down into 4 distinct categories. You have A, B, C, and D.
Okay, let's pull the curtain back on how a salesperson actually uses those categories on the floor. What separates an A from the rest of the alphabet?
So an A category lead is an active, immediate opportunity. To put someone in this bucket, the salesperson must have extracted specific criteria during that 5-minute conversation.
Right.
The prospect has to have an acknowledged, relevant business problem. The person standing in front of you has buying authority, and there's a defined timeline for a project.
Meaning they aren't just curious, they are actively looking to spend money to fix a problem right now.
Right, precisely. And the psychology of an A lead requires aggressive momentum. That prospect requires personal, direct follow-up within 24 to 48 hours of the event closing.
Wow, that fast.
It has to be. If you wait a week, the buyer's amnesia sets in. They've traveled home, they've dealt with a massive backlog of emails, and the urgency they felt on the trade show floor has completely evaporated.
Well, they forget you even exist. So A is immediate action. What moves someone into the B category?
A B category is a qualified future opportunity. The fit is excellent, the problem exists, but a critical element is missing for immediate action.
Like what?
Perhaps their current contract with a competitor doesn't expire until next year, or maybe they don't have the budget approved yet.
Okay, so you don't ignore them.
No, you don't ignore them, but you don't chase them with the same immediate intensity as an A. They require a defined nurture path, so maybe you agree to check in after their Q1 budget review.
It's about protecting the salesperson's immediate bandwidth when they get back.
Exactly.
Okay, then we have C. I imagine this is where it gets a little softer.
It is. C is for strategic relationships. There is no immediate software sale or product purchase happening, but the person is highly valuable.
Like an industry influencer or something.
Yeah, an influencer, a potential channel partner, or a journalist. You assign a named internal owner, maybe one of the founders or the PR team, to manage that relationship long term.
Got it. And finally, D, the casual observers.
Right. D is general interest. They like the booth, they took the brochure, but there is zero evidence of its specific need or timeline.
So what's the follow-up for them?
The salesperson should spend exactly 0 minutes following up with a D lead.
Wow, 0.
0. These are passed directly to the marketing team to be dropped into a generic, automated email sequence. And importantly, there's actually a fifth bucket.
Oh.
Not qualified.
The people who just wanted the free pen.
Yeah.
You just delete them from the system entirely.
You purge them, no relevant need, no realistic opportunity. It sounds harsh, I know, but deleting the unqualified names is how you protect the integrity of the real pipeline.
That makes total sense.
It forces the distinction between mere activity metrics, like how many thousands of people visited the stand, and true commercial return, which is measured by actual pipeline value and the cost to acquire a qualified opportunity.
Right. But to actually process all of this, the salesperson has to have the time and the discipline to do the admin.
Yes.
Which leads us to the post-event reality. Everyone flies home, they're exhausted, their feet are completely destroyed, they haven't slept properly in 3 days, and their normal inbox is overflowing. This is where the wheels usually fall off, isn't it?
Oh, completely. Exhibitions fail commercially in the week after the event. The salesperson returns to the office, the CRM update gets pushed to Friday, the notes scribbled on the back of business cards no longer make any sense, and the high-potential A leads just rot on a spreadsheet.
That is painful to think about.
It is. To combat this, the framework demands a rigid, non-negotiable post-event timeline.
How rigid are we talking?
Within 24 to 48 hours, all immediate priorities must be handled. The promised technical spec sheets are emailed. The calendar invites for follow-up meetings that were agreed upon at the stand are locked in, and all comprehensive notes are logged in the CRM.
Okay.
Within 1 week, you are actively conducting the deep dive discovery meetings with those A and B leads. And within 30 days, leadership should be measuring actual opportunity progression.
Right, looking at the data.
Identifying which deals have stalled and reporting the initial financial value of the pipeline generated.
But the only way a salesperson can realistically accomplish that 48-hour sprint is if they physically block out their calendar for follow-ups before they ever pack their suitcase for the event.
That's exactly right.
If they allow normal internal meetings to populate their first 2 days back in the office, the exhibition momentum is basically dead on arrival.
It requires extreme calendar defense. You have to treat the 2 days after the show as an extension of the show itself.
All right, I want to take a breath here and acknowledge the elephant in the room. We've laid out the perfect scenario. The 4 to 6 month hiring window, the targeted pre-event outreach, the ruthless A through D qualification. The extreme calendar defense.
Yeah, the ideal world.
But let's look at the calendar right now. It is late August. Some of our listeners are staring at a massive October exhibition commitment. They don't have the sales headcount, and the cold sweat is definitely starting to form.
I can imagine.
They are caught in the timeline trap. If perfection is completely off the table, what is the strategy for damage control? Do I just panic and pull the plug on the whole event?
Well, pulling the plug is rarely an option because the capital's already sunk.
Right. The booth is paid for?
The booth is paid for, the sponsorships are locked. But the first rule of contingency planning is brutal honesty. Do not pretend the timing problem doesn't exist. You have to acknowledge you are operating in a compromised state.
Okay, does that mean we scramble the HR department and hire basically anyone with a pulse to make sure the booth looks busy?
No. That is the single worst decision a leadership team can make. The strategic guidance on this is absolute. Prioritize the permanent, high-quality hire over the temporary event. You must not lower your hiring standards simply to place a warm body on the stand.
Because the damage extends far beyond the 3 days of the trade show.
Exactly. If you panic hire a mediocre salesperson just to have coverage in October, you are stuck with them for the next 12 months.
Yeah, that's a
They
nightmare.
will mishandle your valuable pipeline, they will agitate your existing clients, and poison the internal culture. The financial cost of a bad sales hire vastly outweighs the sunk costs of an understaffed exhibition booth.
Okay, so if we freeze the panic hiring, what is the actual tactical play for the October show? Who is standing at the booth?
You deploy your existing internal team, but you do it deliberately. You pull in the people who are best equipped to represent the commercial value of the business, even if they aren't dedicated salespeople.
Like who?
This might mean the founders are on the floor. It might mean senior product managers or the head of marketing.
But wait, a product manager isn't a salesperson? They love talking about features. They aren't going to extract budget timelines from a prospect.
Which is exactly why you have to train them on the exact qualification system we just discussed. You don't expect them to close deals, but you aggressively train them on the ABCD framework.
Oh, I see.
You teach them how to politely extract themselves from a D conversation and how to secure a follow-up meeting with an A prospect.
And I imagine we have to fundamentally alter our expectations for the event's outcome, too.
Yes, you have to dramatically reduce the event objective. Since you don't have the dedicated sales headcount to process 500 casual badge scans, you pivot your strategy to extreme quality over quantity.
Right.
Your goal shifts from, maximum visibility to securing 15 highly strategic prearranged meetings with key accounts. You use the booth simply as a physical meeting point for pre-vetted conversations.
What about bringing in temporary staff? Can we hire event temps just to handle the chaos?
You can and you absolutely should consider temporary logistics support, but you must draw a hard line regarding their responsibilities. Temps are fantastic for crowd control. They can scan the badges of the casual observers, they can hand out the swag, they can direct traffic, and they can answer basic logistical questions.
So they act as a shield.
A perfect way to describe it. They shield your internal experts from the free pen crowd.
Yeah.
But you must never mistake temporary logistics support for permanent sales capability. You do not let a temp worker attempt technical discoveries or try to qualify a complex enterprise opportunity. The ultimate goal of damage control is to protect the capital you spent on the location while rigorously defending the quality of the few high-value conversations you do manage to secure.
It all circles back to the central thesis of this entire analysis, doesn't it? Preparation is the only mechanism that transforms a highly visible location into an actual breathing pipeline. The real estate doesn't do the work. It is the invisible, unglamorous orchestration done months in advance and the ruthless discipline executed in the empty office weeks after that ultimately drives true sales success.
Exactly. The stand creates the potential for visibility. A prepared, highly qualified salesperson is the only asset that can convert that visibility into tangible revenue.
Well said. For our listeners who are serious about building unshakable sales teams and who want to master these timelines before the panic sets in for the next season, I highly encourage you to dive deeper into these frameworks by visiting thesalesexperts.com. There is just a massive reservoir of knowledge there on predicting sales growth and mastering the recruitment cycle without all the fluff.
And before we sign off, I want to leave everyone with a final mechanism to consider.
Yeah, please do.
We have spent this entire deep dive deconstructing the immense, rigid discipline required to make an exhibition profitable. The highly targeted pre-event outreach, the ruthless A through D qualification of the floor, the non-negotiable calendar-blocked follow-up sprints.
It's the ultimate stress test of a sales process.
Exactly. But if an exhibition's true commercial value comes almost entirely from that disciplined, engineered sales process,
Yeah.
it begs a very uncomfortable question for leadership. Could your company generate an exponentially higher return by taking that exact same rigorous, targeted focus and applying it to your everyday outbound sales efforts, entirely independent of a trade show?
Wow, why wait for a convention center to force you to be that organized?
Right.
That is a brilliant challenge to leave with, something to critically evaluate as you review your broader commercial strategy. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We will catch you on the next one.